don't want to tilt up. We want shooting down. It's always a better view shooting down. Stand by. Good morning and welcome. It's day 3 at the World Beach Ultimate Championships. Huntington Beach, California has been a pristine sight, and it's another gorgeous morning here in Southern California. What a game we've got for you to start our broadcast today. Great Britain is 5-1, number 2 in the men's pool play so far. Spain in a 4-way tie for third at 4-2. Good morning, everybody. Evan Lepler with the great Chris Mazer. Delighted to have you with us. Each of the men's teams has 3 games of pool play left before going into quarters and semis tomorrow. And these are 2 of the teams, Chris, Spain and GB, that might have the best chance to challenge the United States. Spain gave the U.S. a really tough game yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the start of what will be the most important day for GB, right? If they win out today, they guarantee themselves to be on the opposite side of the bracket from the U.S., which means they could see them later in the day all the way down to the finals if they could make it that far. So got to start the day big today, but they do play the second, third, and fourth today. It's going to be a challenging one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Great Britain begins with Spain, then they take on Philippines and Canada, other teams that are in the mix near the top of the men's division. Justin Ford, no stranger to the beach. He's won silver medals at each of the last 2 Beach World Championships with Great Britain.
Justin Ford is one of those special players who has evolved over the course of his career. He was an unbelievably talented downfield receiver, developed a throwing skill set that is truly the tops.
And today Ford and the Brits have to deal with this infectious Spanish energy, including Alvaro Iturmendi, who's currently living in Great Britain. He's roommates with one of the members of this GB squad, so there's a little extra spice in the air as we get this one started. And Iturmendi is the leading scorer for Spain so far in the tournament.
You know, whenever I have a close friend on the opposing team, I plead with them. Please don't tell them our secrets. Don't let them give too much on the inside. You got to believe, though, that at this moment, at this tournament, there's no love lost here. This is going to be a fiery and spicy game from the very beginning.
Wherever you are, it is great to have you with us. From Huntington Beach, California, the final rounds of pool play and bracket play in the mixed division begins later today. We'll have some quarterfinals for you this afternoon. Quarters and semis in the men's division come your way tomorrow, and the finals in men's, women's, and mixed are all Sunday here in California. First time in 6 years that we have seen Beach World Championships. And this Spanish delegation really has some pieces to take some medals, I think. But this is going to be an important game for both these teams. Great Britain in the white on offense first. Connor McHale had such a great USA Ultimate Club Nationals with Chicago Machine. He's been one of the important players for this GB Beach team as well. And here's Justin Ford's first touch. Dishing underneath for Tom Abrams, looking for McHale, and he's got him! McHale sprawling in the sand, 1-0 GB.
I know that we highlighted Justin Ford here to start. He might be the best decoy that you're going to see on any team today because everyone's going to key in on him because they know him. But the reality is this team is running very deep. While they don't have a huge roster, every single player is vital, and they go deep with this group. McHale leads the team in scoring, and the reality is Abrams has been the distributor for GB as a country for a very long time.
Yeah, Ford and Abrams both entering this game through their first 6 games, 8 goals, 8 assists apiece. They are 2 key cogs on the O-line, and Connor McHale, I mean, he's got 21 assists so far in the tournament. There's his 6th goal. The depth of GB is not what they'd like it to be. They're missing Ashley Yo. They're missing Will Rowledge, who got hurt playing Euros. But it's a talented group. This Spain team, over the first couple days of the tournament, Chris, they have basically not had an O-line or the D-line. They've played 2 equal lines. Today's the day they make the transition and try to play their O-on-O and their D-on-D. Francisco Romano up the line. It's Iturmendi Ettore, they call him, 24-year-old who's currently living in London, but Spanish heritage, and he's got his first goal to tie it at 1.
And the Giants playmaker on the other side nearly gets a block. Ollie Gordon comes flying in off the backside, contesting the penultimate pass. What concentration to still reel this in and then throw a really delightfully weighted backhand down the line. No contest on the actual catch for the goal.
We've talked about it the first couple days of this tournament quite a bit. The transition from the grass to the beach. You know, there's a perception out there, Chris, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it, that like countries like Canada and Great Britain play stylistically generally a lot like the United States, just perhaps not at the same elite level. Whereas a country like Spain or maybe the Philippines, their experience on the beach, their style is different. It can be a little quirky for Canada, GB, and the U.S. to handle.
Quirky or, you know, fine-tuned for the intricacy of being on sand, right? Like that's what's pretty special about getting to play in these events where, let's listen in actually. We have a contested foul. It's just in the middle of the field. It doesn't have any bearing on the stall count or any positioning.
Forward coming underneath. Marked by Lorenzo. The hammer beautifully placed. Abrams with an assist and a goal in the opening couple points for the GB offense.
You know, you're bringing up this point about the difference of a country who has more time spent on the sand and playing just a different style of a game. When I think of throwing upside-down passes on the beach, you really need it to travel a significant distance to allow your cutters to get to the open space as opposed to shorter upside-down throws. And this is exactly what I'm imagining. It's got to go at least half the field so that way you don't overthrow a receiver, right? It's a delicate balance of just how quickly you're used to someone moving on grass when you throw an overhead pass.
Great Britain men's ultimate beat Japan 13-6, beat Singapore 13-7, beat France 11-7, beat Germany 13-7. They lost to USA 13-8, and then they beat Ireland 13-4. 3 games Wednesday, 3 games Thursday, 3 more today, if the legs were not sore enough already.
There's a
pick call. Looks like the disc is going to stay with Juan Fernandez, whom they call Troy. Ben Funk sets the mark. Funk, an American, but a veteran of the GB beach team. Spain moves the disc quickly, and they move it well laterally. They really force you to guard the full width of the field. High stall count situation, but nice anticipation. Alvaro Monterdi gets it to Iturmendi for the 2-2 score.
Yeah, lots of shifty motion downfield from Spain. Which is a surprise because when you're in the beach, it's usually those decisive straight lines that make the most sense because then you're not getting caught up in the sand nearly as much and you can leave your defender in the dust. This time, though, Spain very comfortable, just moving, holding the disc. A delightful, get out of jail free card here with the offhand lefty backhand and a confident finish at the front.
There's just something about playing on the sand where if you have good eye contact and have good trust, I don't want to say it's easy to throw your teammate open, but it's probably easier than it is on grass when the defender has a little bit more quickness to him.
Yeah, absolutely. There's less of the catch-up ability. So if you see a catch-up block, someone is beat already by a margin when the disc is thrown, and the defender makes up the ground, those are the really, truly special plays where you see highlights that you remember for a long time.
McHale zips it cross field. Magnus Wilson to Justin Ford. Abrams. Pretty good downfield defense. This possession's taken a little bit to get going here for Great Britain. And Ford's had enough for the dilly-dallying, and he just throws the score to Connor McHale. Easy as that. 3-2.
You call it easy. I call it incredibly skilled touch pass out of Justin Ford. The late huck with pace or an early huck with hang time and float. It's one or the other. And this time, Justin Ford picks the exact right pace to get this down there for McHale, who was already most of the field down, right? He is way far away from the cutter. And grass, you'd never throw this pass this late, given the percentage of the field that he's away from the thrower. But on Beach, that's the exact right time to let it go.
I mean, you think about the last generation of Great Britain Ultimate, you think of Justin Ford. I mean, he has been such a pivotal player for Clapham, for GB, playing on the domestic and international stage. 2 assists so far for Ford. Still no turns to the first 5 points. Again, the wind is not a major factor. There's a slight breeze, but it is not substantial. Similar to how it has been the first couple days here in Huntington Beach. Certainly far less windy than it was 6 years ago in Royan or 8 years ago in Dubai before that. Fernandez gets it back and breaks the mark and inbounds for the 3-3 equalizer. Alvaro Monterde. Still no turns through 6 points.
Yeah, but the GB defense stepped up the pressure in the red zone this time around. And as a result, Spain's offense got in this kind of swirly space where they were in this box near the red zone. And I'm surprised there actually wasn't a pick at the front of the stack here where 2 players are completely changing the sides of the field that they were on at the exact same moment. And defender just said, okay, I was beat anyway. I'm not going to call something here.
Good footwork near the sideline. Maybe a little too close for comfort, but
for someone who was wide open with a wide open backhand, yeah, a little too close for sure.
Couple scores for Alvaro Monterde, who was second on the team in goals through the first couple days. And you look at the top 6 in the men's division right now. USA 6-0, GB 5-1. Then France, Philippines, Spain, and Canada all start the day tied for third at 4-2. And it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. McHale for Ford this time. GB continues to churn.
Well, McHale was just floating across the sand there. There was a set play where the stack pushed deep down the right side of the field. McHale catches the pull centers, and it's an isolation play for him using a flow side left. A really nice designed play, and then McHale had his choice of, point and click, right? Ford was going to be open long, and if he wasn't open long, someone was going to be open under here. Just a really nice play design out of the gate. Acres of space. McHale looks fast early.
Offense is rolling so far here. Another key game in this round of play. Behind us on field 2, France and the Philippines 3-3 through their first 6 points. Now France is 4-2. Got a tough Friday schedule. They have the Philippines, USA, and Spain. USA still has to deal with France and the Philippines later today. Romano keeps it moving. Robin San Jose back to Fernandez. And this is Iturmendi. They're very comfortable hitting the open hands. Can they find a pair in the end zone? Yes, they can. Francisco Romano. Looks like Ben Funk hasn't a conversation, but the goal appears like it's going to stand. And this is, something's got to give, Chris. We're 4-4 through 8 points. We have no turns thus far. GB and Spain trading punches. Pool play action here in Huntington Beach. Both offenses have been perfect so far in this GB-Spain clash, but the styles with which they have scored is a little bit different, Chris.
It's super fun to watch because of how different they really are. GB is playing a very vertically oriented offense where they're taking shots away with cutters going towards the end zone. Spain is bouncing the disc laterally back and forth, finding squares and triangles in their formation to take different angles towards the end zone.
Ford initiates for Great Britain. Stall count rising, needs a reset. One of the more difficult resets that the Brits have had so far, but Briggs able to get free. This is Wilson. Back for Briggs. Connecting with Abrams. Ford downfield in the end zone. McHale trying to get free, and the defender was oh so close. Diego Lorenzo almost got a fingertip on that disc, but McHale pulls it in, and the foul called with no contest.
That is a tight window trust throw from Abrams, knowing that McHale likes to catch the disc over his head. I'm not sure I would have made that pass myself.
Up the line, another tight window trust throw, but it's Josh Briggs fulfilling the trust. 5-4, Great Britain.
And the stylistic differences continue. I could transport this GB team directly to the grass. They could run the same exact style of offense. It would look pretty much identical with the way that they're setting up their dump sets and their downfield cutting. What an interesting block attempt, too. Look, he's fully wrapped around both sides. There's some acceptable contact here. It seems like they're all good. He had an arm on both sides. It looked like he could have gone block on the backside or the front side. And yet somehow not a backpack. Pretty remarkable body control.
Yeah, I'm with you. And those are the best defenders that make those decisions late and still avoid contact. All right, let's see if Spain can keep it rolling. The pole sails just out of bounds.
Yeah, what a treat of speed and efficiency we're seeing. 9 straight holds, not a single turn between the teams.
France, Philippines 4-all. USA has a 6-2 lead on Germany.
It's up to these coaching units to decide what kind of a defensive change are we going to make. This one looks like it's a force middle sag in the lane from GB. They're content to let them swing it a few times before they got started.
Almost a poach block. The possession perseveres. Romano working in the backfield with Fernandez. Just taking what's there, playing catch. Is there anything more fun in the world than playing catch on the beach? I don't know if there is. 5-5, Chris. 10 straight turnover-free holds between GB and Spain.
It's just beautiful patience out of this Spain team. They're so confident that if the first look isn't there, the second or third look will be there. They're just waiting to get organized so that they can take the exact angles and spaces that they want to be attacking. This Spain offense is really a delight to watch. It's fun. It's fluid. It's active.
Dance it out, GB. Dance it out.
Third goal for Alvaro Iturmendi, who did want to give a shout out to his indoor team in Loughborough, England, and he's teammates with GB's Dan Hillman on that team, also housemates with Hillman. The team is LED, and as you would expect, their indoor league team is pretty good with a couple of guys playing at this level on this stage here at Beach Worlds. I like LED's chances if you can put a little book on them to take the title this year in that indoor league in Loughborough. GB, they have odds for everything, so I just assume
I was
it's
going to say,
available.
I'll check Vegas later.
Here's Connor McHale coming underneath. McHale, dangerous shot. Justin Ford in the end zone was bumped. And he calls a foul. And let's see if there's any contest from Diego Lorenzo. Lorenzo's presence certainly forced Ford to go up early. And there was certainly contact. And I'd be surprised if this isn't an uncontested foul, but we'll see.
But he didn't think there was any opportunity.
He's fine.
I think we both missed, and the disc was so floating.
So you're contesting?
Yeah, I'm just
It'll be a contested foul, and it is coming back. Chris, I understand the perspective of both players. Curious to hear what you think.
I think with the rules here, this is a very clear foul, given what's going on this. You know, I think Justin's argument here is very clear. On the attempted catch, there was contact and a foul, knocks him off course. If there's no contact there, certainly a chance he's got a better opportunity to catch the over-floating pass. It's just clear in the WIFDIF rule set, right? Contact is a foul.
So Ford about 40 meters away from where that contact happened, gets it underneath, and now finds McHale. Tough snag there by Abrams. See the Spanish defenders switching a good bit downfield. That does leave a man open, but it's dropped. Josh Briggs fumbles it and creates the game's first turnover, a gift for Spain. Let's see if they can use it. Players did get a chance to rest during that long stoppage, so this basically feels like a new point. Paul Pau-Gil back for Neil Dalmau. Jose Manuel Lopez keeps the disc moving. This is Jean Pasco.
Spain's had the disc for about as long as GB's offense had the disc. They've already thrown twice as many passes. They're committed to changing the shape of the field and angles.
And that'll do it for the break. Spain takes its first lead here over GB. The drop from Briggs, and Spain converts.
Worried that Pau-Gil's a little bit laissez-faire there in terms of catching that. Wasn't aware that he was a foot outside of the end zone. Clearly could have just caught the goal. GB could have come back. And this is the first time that GB hadn't scored in under 7 passes. That was the 8th pass, Evan. So there's the formula. If I'm Spain's defensive team, my goal is make GB throw 8 or more passes. If we can get there, we have a better shot at getting either a turnover, a block, something going on. And it's so clear that Spain wants to be playing catch over and over and over again. If the stall is at stall 3, they're ready to throw it before that.
All righty. Well, their first major zag here in this European showdown. Miguel Jimenez launching the pull. it is a yard too long. One turn in the game. Just the 1 point lead for Spain. And some new faces on this GBO line after the turn. Conrad Wilson picking up. Wilson part of the Clapham team that took bronze at WUCC in Ohio last year. They defeated Mooncatchers in the third place game. Clapham beat Mooncatchers finals of Euros this past summer to bounce back from their first ever loss in GB Nationals. 21-year streak came to an end for Clapham at GB Nationals, upset by Chevron, but Clapham back on top of the continent shortly thereafter. And GB back in the end zone shortly after the break to tie it 6-6. Obviously, this next couple points is going to say a lot about who wins this game, Chris, because Spain's going to receive the next two pulls. Regardless of what happens on this point, Spain's receiving these next two pulls. They could make it 8-6 before GB possesses the disc again on offense if they can take care of their business.
Yeah, so what do you want to do here? If you are the GB defensive unit, what are you going to do differently? Because what we've done for the 5 offensive possessions they've had before this hasn't worked. It's going to have to be something completely different. They're very comfortable throwing 15 passes, so any sort of a sag in the lane or slowing down the flow downfield, that's just working into their advantage, right? They want to change the angle of attack as quickly as possible. I would say overplay every part of the field. Overplay the mark. Overplay downfield. Make them make a vertical pass longer than 15 or 20 yards and see if you can get a turn that way.
Funk, East, Hillman, Slaughter, and Gordon, the 5 defenders for Great Britain. You know, in a game where you actually had a halftime, you might see Justin Ford or Connor McHale on this line, but there's going to be another deep point coming up next, and there's the first Spain turn through the hands of Robin San Jose. And Ben Funk will pick up. GB can take half here. Difficult throw and a tough catch. Hayden Slaughter. Pressured on the mark by Romano. And we got a stoppage. He felt the pressure.
Yeah,
I think that like left arm reaching in.
Pretty clear foul on the mark, I believe. Yeah, and a no contest here. I think that was perfectly discussed by these two. Nice and quick. They got their points out, and the right resolution ended up happening.
Keep that mark in mind. I want to go back to it. Great layout snag there by Funk. And GB has its first break to retake the lead 7-6.
Beautifully undersold on what is likely the catch of the game. Funk saves possession in the red zone to get the break back and be on serve going into halftime. This is one of the most crucial plays you could have close to the red zone. Just unbelievable by Funk. Presence of mind to leave his field on an in-cut. You don't normally see people laying out on an in-cut.
Oh, the painful drop. The difficult catch, and then another possession-saving grab from Funk. We played 13 points, Chris Mazer. There have only been 2 turns. Both have been converted for breaks. Great Britain 7, Spain 6. Two good teams, evenly matched. European powers battling on the beaches here in California. Great Britain entered this game 5-1 so far in pool play. Spain was 4-2. If GB wins this game, they're pretty comfortably going to be in the 2 or 3 spot, which guarantees not having to face the U.S., barring a U.S. slip-up later today, which we don't expect until the final. You lose this game, then you're in that hodgepodge of team with 2 losses and hoping for tiebreakers. And ideally, you'd rather, I think, be the 3 or the 6 even than be the 4 or 5 with how well USA is playing. But we'll see how all that shakes out. Second half's underway. Spain on 0. Spain had a chance to take half, but their first turn of the game came at 6-all. And GB's Ben Funk and Hayden Slaughter collaborate on the go-ahead goal. Romano back for Fernandez. Fernandez open deep, but Spain doesn't want to take that vertical shot.
It's just a beautiful switch from Hillman and Haynes downfield. Saw the motion, almost had another opportunity for a switch there. This is really good pressure from GB. They've taken away now the easy resets that Spain loves to throw. This time the release valve came from downfield.
Day 3 of the competition, the 7th game for both these teams. First game of the day, the legs still waking up. It's a long point. Offenses have been converting relatively easily, but as this game progresses, the defense is gaining a little bit more traction. The offense life becoming a little bit harder.
Now, if this was the GB offense, I would say they were all in a fantastic position out of that reset. They were all bunched up on the left side of the field, forced back towards the middle on the big side, but that's not really the style that Spain wants to play. They want to play in boxes and triangles, so now they're in their flow.
And they do persevere. San Jose throws the equalizer, and we're tied 7-7. It's a game to 13, but we're also 14, 15 minutes away from cap.
Yeah, and at the pace that we've been seeing these two teams execute, I gotta imagine we are getting to 13 in this game, Evan, for sure. That's the bread and butter it looked like from the Spanish offense. They're taking a slash and cut down the middle of the field. It feels like a break throw for the downfield defender, but it's an open side throw for the person with the disc. And then the counter flow off the next pass is definitely a break throw. They're ready for that triangle to be set up. 1-2.
There are 11 points left in this game. Obviously, GB has the edge. Each team has broken once, but GB got to halftime first. Their first break to take half, 7-6. So they don't need to have more breaks than Spain to win this game. I don't know if we talk about it enough, Chris, how getting to halftime first is basically worth a half a break and gives you a big advantage. Past a couple Spain defenders. Smooth throw from Josh East into the hands of Josh Briggs.
I want to highlight Tom Abrams on this point. He is probably the most underrated player that has been on every single one of these men's international teams. He is just the definition of a hub handler that's always putting himself in a good position to be a release valve. He's getting upfield in a positive spot, creating tough defensive matchups, and then when he gets the disc, he's so confident and smooth, distributing left, right, angles, backhands, forward. It's really a pleasure to watch, and he almost never gets talked about. He is the hub for this team, despite all of these, big name goal scorers that get all the credit.
I think that's a great point, and we do spend a lot of time and ink talking about Ford and Yo and Gordon, but You're right. Tom Abrams, I mean, he was on the Great Britain World Games team in 2013 in Cali, Colombia. Was on the World Games team last year in Birmingham, Alabama.
And I remember him guarding me in 2010 in Chesapeake and thinking, I can't get open. So this guy's been great for a very long time.
Made Clapham for the first time in 2010 as a 21-year-old kid. Near the sideline for Spain, Iturmendi keeps the disc moving. Romano's been sure-handed. Fernandez back to San Jose. This is Monterde. Iturmendi made the signal, no, don't throw my way. So handler looked backwards. Slaughter gets up. Oh, tight space throw. And finally, Iturmendi picks his spot and scores again.
You know, it's been a while since I've seen someone with a nose for the end zone the way that Iturmendi has. He's giving me like shades of like a Joel Schlockett 2016, where it was a guy it seemed like all he did was catch goals or throw easy passes. It was like a sure thing almost. And Iturmendi, he's in the right spot at the right time over and over and over again. Sometimes he's making the power cut, winning the open side. Other times he's making a clear cut and waiting for the play to develop in front of him and just filling the space, which that's the mark of a really great goal scorer. He's waiting for his time and then attacking.
Alvaro Iturmendi now with 20 goals in the tournament. No one has more.
And I don't know if anyone will have more by the end of it. The pace that he scores at is something special. Classic horizontal double clear play here to get Ford open, under to get the disc. Not exactly a play you'd see on Beach very often. Still works out, and they're into their red zone.
Up the line, and they call him in.
That, though, is a play you'll see a lot in Beach. The old Fosbury hop it in from about a yard and a half out. Got to be the most common goal scored out here on the sand.
The Fosbury hop it in?
Yeah, we'll get to it another time, Evan. Maybe when you're older.
So Magnus Wilson from Josh East, who has thrown the last couple scores for GB. After this game, Great Britain will play the Philippines and Canada. So it's a tough, exhausting day. And you don't want to. Seeding is important in certain ways and can dictate the flow of how tomorrow and Sunday go, but these are teams that are guaranteed of being in the top 8, Chris, with what they've done so far, and being at their best tomorrow is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You just want to keep it as well oiled as possible and uncover any weaknesses in the strategy now, so that way when you're playing against the highest and the toughest competition in the bracket, you're ready to weather the storm as it approaches.
Big time possession, save and grab from Alvaro Monterde. Spain has thrown about 50% more passes in this game. It's just the different styles that Chris Mazur's been accentuating throughout the telecast. We're under 8 minutes away from cap. 9-8. Still only have had 2 turnovers total in the game, 1 per side. We're on serve 9-8, but being on serve means advantage GB.
And look, in this position where they are, they're over halfway through the field. You might think we should play honest defense downfield. I'm still going to play underneath here. I don't think they want to throw an away pass. If I'm one of these GB defenders, I am fully committed to taking away the under and don't believe until they show me differently that they're going to throw over the top.
Romano. Monterde gets free and dishes into the end zone for Robin San Jose. San Jose was Spain's leading goal scorer in Royan 6 years ago for the Spain men's team that finished 6th out of 23 teams at that World Championship event. And they are tied 9-9 here with the silver medalists from 2017 Great Britain.
This style of play is giving me shades of one of my favorite Ultimate players from around the world, Joe Anderson, a staple in the Colorado game now. When we grew up playing together in New York, he would say, this is a grown man cut or a grown adult cut. You know where I'm going? I'm going straight to the disc. Try to stop me if you can.
You could probably come up with a pretty long list of Joe Smashisms. I mean, that guy likes to talk and is very creative and just fun. He's a fun dude.
He is a linguist in my mind. And just a joy to be around in every sense. And what a joy this game is being and going to turn up to be all the way to the very end.
9-9, GB back on O. A little bit of a floater, but Magnus Wilson is there. Launching deep, a floater, 2 defenders chasing Justin Ford, and Ford pulls it down in between red jerseys. 10-9 GB.
That's exactly what GB wants to be doing. Score quickly, don't throw a lot of passes, rely on our athletes to either be fast, tall, or read the disc well, or in Justin Ford's case, just do it all. Wonderfully done by Ford. Maybe not the best pass we've seen out here this week.
I don't know about you, Chris. Throws like this in a game like this make me nervous when possession has been so critical and we've seen so few mistakes from both sides. I mean, with Ford there, maybe this is a 75-25 shot with his thrower taking it with the wind being what it is, maybe a little less, but Ford, as he's done so many times, able to make the big play for his team.
Yeah, look, that's like maybe a questionable throw in our local beach league game on Sundays here in LA. That one, though, I guess with Justin Ford as your target, maybe it's a higher percentage that we're giving him credit for.
Romano initiates this possession.
Ford does cross over on this point for the first time this game.
I've been waiting to see that. And there's a balance, as I said, because this is just pool play, and you don't want to run Justin Ford too ragged. But maybe Ford's presence downfield made a difference in that turnover. And Ollie Gordon is in the end zone for the GB break. Conversation in the middle of the field, but it doesn't look like it's going to change the outcome. And for the first time, Great Britain has a multi-goal lead over Spain.
Tons of credit to Conrad Wilson here. They're getting beat by what Spain wants to be doing. He says, no more, I have to stop this. So he lays out, makes the defender pump the first pass, and so Ollie Gordon can get to the mark and actually put an impact here. Lots of credit to Ollie Gordon. Obviously, he makes the play, goes the other way, they score in a single pass. But to me, without Conrad Wilson fully laying out on that fake to stop the give and go and force them to slow down, this block never happens. Wonderfully done by the two of them, playing a two-man game on defense, getting beat, and then a two-man game going the other way. Evan, another hop for a goal.
I'm not sure we made enough of Ollie Gordon's block on the play. He used his leg or his foot to knock down that upline pass. And now just 3 minutes away from cap. Pressure is really on Spain. I mean, GB has only turned it once all game long. It was the unexpected drop by Josh Briggs on the goal line. Other than that, the Brits have been perfect.
Gosh, a sideline to sideline swing pass is like the longest pass the Spain team's willing to throw.
Excellent handler defense by Hillman. And the shot sailing cross field off the fingertips of the outstretched arm of Juan Fernandez.
Incredible bid by Fernandez. He's tracking this the whole way as it's tailing to the break side. Defender's not even in the picture because of where this disc is going, and
that's one of the plays of the tournament if he comes down with it. I'm sure he feels like he should have had it, even though it would have been spectacular. So just with what we've seen from the GB offense so far, Chris, I mean, this almost feels like game point right here. I mean, it's hard to imagine GB getting broken 3 consecutive points. Not impossible. But a break here would make it 12-9. Robbie Haynes sends the sky ball. Hayden Slaughter. Did he push off? Just great positioning apparently on Iturmendi. And Slaughter scores the goal to make it 12-9. Great Britain.
Yeah, they both got to the same spot in the end zone. They both held their position well. Iturmendi took a chance. I mean, it's tough, right? It's floating and hanging and drifting, and that was an upwind pass, so we don't know how many times that thing bounced as it was approaching them.
What a turn of events here. 10-9 on serve. Spain looking to tie, but back-to-back breaks, and GB is closing in on another win. Great crowd on hand right by the Huntington Beach Pier as the cap time expires. Spain needs 4 goals in a row. An offensive hold and then 3 breaks to come from behind against Great Britain, who is seemingly on its way to a 6-1 record in pool play. Their only loss coming against the U.S. Floater, Monterde. One more highlight for Spain. Let's see what they can do on D coming up. Spain taking the timeout, try to rest up their top defenders. GB 1 goal away from their 6th win here at 2023 Beach Worlds. There's a little bit of breeze here on the beach. That's a little bit more than the last couple days, but still nothing ferocious to totally change the flavor of these games. At least that's where we are right now. Great Britain men's ultimate won the silver medal in 2015 and 2017 at Beach Worlds, losing to the USA in the finals in each of those events. Interestingly, Great Britain and Spain did not cross paths in either Dubai or in Royan on the field. It's a fun matchup. It's been a great game. We were on serve, only 2 total turns through the first 19 points, but then a couple Spanish errors led to Great Britain breaks that created the separation, and now GB at winning time with Spain on D. The Britain offense looking to punch in one more to go to 6-1 in pool play. Abrams will initiate. Swings it for Briggs. McHale wants it all. Connor McHale's lefty backhand shot will not be caught. Abrams was there, and Spain has a chance to get within one. And Spain gives that chance away quickly. "23rd point of the game, Chris. It's the first point with multiple turnovers."
That's kind of unbelievable in a beach game. It just seems like you almost never see games this clean. We're really got a treat this morning.
Some contact between Ford and Lorenzo. Uncontested foul. Apologies given. It's the type of bid that you don't like to see. You understand it because a competitor sees a chance to make a play, but Lorenzo will look at the film and realize that Ford was going to catch that disc and there was no way for him to bid without making the contact.
You know, I held my thought early in the game because I noticed most of the marks were very physical in the first half, despite how clean it was. I was wondering just how physical this game could get, and there have been a couple moments with some side-by-side contact. Ford's been in the middle of a couple of them. I mean, look, he's a strong body that is trusted to make tough catches, right? So it's almost like he's going to be in a few more of these instances just by virtue of how frequently he's getting touches.
Perhaps one more throw for Great Britain, and it's a spectacular snag to end the game. Tom Abrams closes it out as GB prevails 13-10. A game that I think you could say was considerably closer than the final score would indicate. This game was a nail-biter. Teams trading back and forth. Spain had the first break. GB took half, 7-6. But just a few more spectacular moments from the team in white, and GB remains clearly ahead of the rest of the pack in second place in the men's division.
Yeah, their identity is very clear, Evan. They've only got 12 guys on the beach this week, and they are very happy with those 12 players. They are a tight unit that have a focused strategy of vertically attacking, whether it's on offense or on defense, and they're confident that they're going to be able to come down with it. I can't say they're that much bigger than most of the other teams, but they certainly have some height advantage in a couple key positions, and truly some of the most steady throwers that we're going to see in the men's division. And we're going to get to talk to one of those guys who's been one of the steadiest throwers for the country for a very long time, in Tom Abrams.
Look at the numbers. I mean, 6 total turns in the game, 2 for GB, 4 for Spain. The efficiency on the break chances was the difference as GB improves to 6-1 with a couple more tough games coming up today. Battles with the Philippines and Canada beckon. But we'll first get a quick comment from Tom Abrams, the veteran Great Britain star, veteran of multiple World Games team. Tom, can you hear me?
I can, hello.
Hey, thanks for joining us. What a game, what a battle that was. The Brits hadn't played Spain at a World Beach event in a very long time, but, I mean, for 19 points, it was about as close as it could get. What was it like to be a part of that?
Yeah, the start of that game, as you say, was a real grind. Neither team giving up the disc easily. We felt we were building pressure through that first half. We were able to get some, we thought, a little bit of an easier time of scoring goals. We were backing ourselves come the second half to kind of be able to pull away. And I think we just about managed to do that. But they're a good, solid outfit, and they'll be a tough match for anyone to come up against.
Tom, Chris Mazur here. It's been a pleasure watching you play for a number of years now. You seem to be one of the most humble distributors at the top of the game right now. How are you looking at the game? How are you attacking the game personally? Just give you an opportunity here to tell me what you're thinking about when you're playing.
More than anything on beach, I think the disc is so valuable. So I'm always looking to just take the options that are given to me. I have, I guess, a few different throws. They're not everyone throws, but for me, they're throws that I have in my bag. So looking for spaces, especially trying to break the mark. It opens up the field. If you're not able to use all parts of the field, the defenders can lock down in certain areas. So that's what I'm looking for. And then if the deep shots present themselves, obviously you don't want to take that part of the field as well. So that's how I'm kind of thinking about the game.
Tom, great stuff. Congrats on the win. You got about 65 minutes before the Philippines are going to run you around. So we'll let you go. Get some water, and we'll see you later in the tournament.
Cool. Thanks, folks.
Tom Abrams, the GB veteran, who had a strong game here against Spain. Chris, that was fun. Spain certainly earned plenty of respect. Their offense was smooth, really until it wasn't late in the game, and GB steadiness got them to the finish line.
Yeah, smooth, exciting, two very different styles of Ultimate, which is always thrilling to watch. It's like you get to watch two full games at the same time when you see teams that are this different stylistically. What a joy to be here, and excited for both these teams throughout the rest of the tournament.
And I look forward to seeing both these teams in quarterfinals here tomorrow. For Chris Mazur and our entire crew, Evan Lepler saying so long for now, but we will be right back. Another GB team, the GB women's team, getting ready to battle the Canadian women. That's just a few minutes away. Beach Worlds 2023 continues. GB over Spain, 13-10.
Yeah, Bailey was on the upfield cutter, and that cutter just didn't clear space soon enough, giving Bailey a chance at that poach block.
Katie Bottomley swings it for Michelle Kim Wardell. Tight defense played there by Virginie Maltese. Another tight window, but a completed pass. Isabel Ritu up the line and incomplete. Third turn of the point.
I like how Sam Burridge was very sure they're laying out for a D just to make sure that nobody got that second effort score.
Burridge sending Maltese. Just not quite in sync. That throw going into the wind. Katie, how would you characterize the wind as we play here around 11:15 a.m. local time?
I would say that it's fluttering.
I love it.
We're here. We're on the edge of the ocean. There's clearly wind. Those flags, I think, make it look a little bit stronger than it actually is. It isn't significantly affecting throws, but we'll see if it picks up. It usually is in the middle of the day when it gets hot and a little bit breezier. But I don't think that either of these teams should be affected too much by the wind, usually playing in cold, windy places.
Fluttering was the best word to describe it. Third break chance of the point. Chorus sending it, and that'll work. Tumble and catch, but it's good for Virginie Maltese. Former member of the Team Canada U24 mixed team that won a bronze medal in Australia early 2018. And a 3-1 lead now for Canada. 3 consecutive goals for TC.
Yeah, Chorus just throwing it out into space there. Malte doing a great job of running it down, being sure, collapsing in the sand after that effort. It was a lot of back and forth on that point, and it started out as a Canada D point, so that's actually what defenses want, obviously to score, but maybe more importantly for the long term of the game, to really tire out the other team's offensive line, because tired legs create tired minds, and then it's easier to get a turnover when the other team is a little less focused.
So Malte scores her first goal of the game. 1 goal, 1 block for Canada's number 22.
Yeah, 2 breaks in a row for Canada.
Alyssa Mason launching the pull. Mason, the other member of the Team Canada World Games squad that's playing for this Canadian beach team, along with Britt Dos Santos. This is Mo Wynn. Good to see Mo. She was an invaluable helper on our production teams for the WIFDF World Championships in the past. Cool to see her on the field representing GB, where she's lived for a long time, but she's actually from Vancouver, so this game means a whole lot to her. Huck goes up from Fliss, man, and it's blocked in the end zone. Athletic denial from Alex Benedict.
Both players in the end zone almost pirouetting around trying to read this disc, but Benedict doing a better job of reading it and putting herself in the way of the path of that disc.
Crystal Dos Santos with a nice catch right back to Benedict. Sending it deep. Crystal Dos Santos got it! Spectacular stuff from Team Canada, and a thrilling sequence for Crystal Dos Santos.
It was so special for Benedict to get up, get that huge D, and then in this putting just the right amount of touch on this out for Crystal Dos Santos, who reels it in well.
Jenny Corus back to work on the Canada D-line. 4 straight goals for Canada after GB converted a turnover-free hold on the opening point of this game. GB continues to work offensively with Wardell in the backfield. This is Rosie Bailey. Not a great throwing lane. Needs a reset and finds Toe. Back to Bailey. Big look in her eyes, Katie. You can tell she wanted to throw it deep to big number 91, Natasha Collins. Collins does have a step in the deep space. They hit her through the traffic coming under. And that's a score. Camille Maala dishing to the end zone for GB as they snap the 4-0 Canada run.
Yeah, you can see that there's Tash Collins with the disc and the good movement for Great Britain. We'd seen them making some double cuts earlier in that point. I think that Rosie Bailey was a little bit frustrated. You could see wanting to throw it upfield but not having the same amount of cuts. It's interesting to see how Great Britain is making those adjustments, because it's in the sand. You shouldn't have double cuts when there's 5 of you on the space. It's really an inefficient use of things. So if you see somebody going in one direction, don't also go in that direction. Stop your cut and give your thrower a different look.
And you shouldn't misidentify players when there are only 5 players on each team. But I made the same mistake that the GB team did from a spacing standpoint. Baker the assist, Bailey the goal, and a 4-2 score, as GB does have the only turnover-free points in the game. Canada's 1-0 point was not perfectly clean. GB had a chance to break and go up 2-0. Could not do much with it. So Canada back on offense for the first time in a while.
Reaching behind grab there for Canada. Really good awareness.
Beaudry with a catch on her knees. Zips it up the line for Cook.
They just keep throwing it right behind Brown. I think she's pretty firmly sitting on that line.
I mean, if you're going to stop and have a chat, you do kind of have to tap it back in. You can't just pick it up and throw it right to the person when everyone else is stopped. I think that's the spirit of the game.
Yeah, I think the players are saying that they were affected, but it was really great work there by Jessie Brown in order to retain possession there on the end zone line and have the awareness to throw it. I think as we get there, we're going to see
her teammates haven't necessarily made it easy for her, and there's a foul called on the goal line, no contest. We have Rebecca Bellingham on the mark. I don't know if it's her ultimate nickname necessarily, but you could see Jessie Brown on the field and call her the air traffic controller, because she is an air traffic controller. That's a pretty good ultimate nickname. Yeah. 5-2 Canada.
Yeah, exactly. I think Jessie Brown did a really good job to keep possession there. Some very quick grabs, but this is a Beaudry to Dos Santos connection again for the goal. They're continuing to rack themselves up that leaderboard. In talking with Dos Santos before the game, I asked, if they talk about it, if they're focused on the thing, and she said, honestly, no, I don't think about that at all. It's really just been fun to lean into the historical chemistry between Anushka and herself, because they played for Sixers, but they really haven't played together in the club scene since before the pandemic, since 2019. And so they're having a lot of fun out here playing with each other and just knowing each other really well. And I think that speaks for itself as you see them on the field and in that stat leaderboard.
2 Canada goals so far. Beaudry to Britt Dos Santos. Britt's younger sister Crystal also has one goal in the game. Mo Wynn walking it to the line. Mo played on the GB Women's Masters team 21-22, now in 23. She's a captain of the women's team. Big bid. Hitting the ground hard. Benedict pops back up. Excellent handler defense. Michelle Ng swats it away. Peden picks up to Benedict. Downfield. It's Ng, laser to the end zone, on target. And another Canada break as Elsa Chu scores to make it 6-2.
Canada's defensive pressure on the mark here, especially Benedict's mark, is I think what yields this turnover. You can see really just rattling the thrower and making that throw just far enough away that the tight defense on the reset can get there, and then going the other direction using that cross field. You can see them moving horizontally from one side of the field back to the other, and as a defender it's so difficult to stop that vertical and horizontal space at the same time. So really good poise there from the Canadian defensive O-line, essentially to try to cement that score, what we would call a clean break.
Katie, I'm curious to get your perspective from what you have watched so far. USA is at the top of the women's pool. Canada and Spain are 2 and 3 in that order. Do you view Canada right now as the favorite for the silver, How do you look at that Canada-Spain matchup? We saw Spain play USA at the start of the tournament. In their pool play game, it was down to the wire. Canada won 9-8 over Spain. So it's possible that those teams could play again in Pool B and then again in the semifinals. So they could play 2 more times, with really the only game that really matters being the last one for a spot in the gold medal game.
Yeah, drop for GB, giving Canada back the disc. But from my perspective, you know, Canada is really growing in this tournament, from watching them on the first day to watching them now. Their offensive possession, they're going from the throw from chorus yet again, scoring for Canada. They're really making use of each other and getting better in this tournament. Spain is doing the same thing, and I think that those two teams are going to do great things. I can't wait to see them play each other multiple times.
Strong first half for Team Canada. Only 3 turnovers for the Canadians and a 7-2 halftime lead over Great Britain. GB jumped in front 1-0, but it's Team Canada scoring 7 of the last 8 goals. As we come out of half, Canada will be on offense again. The Huntington Pier overlooking the playing field, and Alyssa Mason getting a little calisthenics in.
Alyssa Mason, when I was out here before the tournament started, was thoroughly enjoying this beach weather, taking advantage of all the sunshine and the sand. She said that she is very excited to be here and playing in the California weather, and it couldn't be better for November.
Yeah, it is really nice. You know, for those of you out there where it may be a little bit colder, a little rainy, or perhaps even some snow, I mean, hopefully you can experience the joy in our voices with us, because it's hard to do wrong with low 70s, slight breeze, nary a cloud in the sky, and a refreshing ocean to jump into. If you're feeling a little too warm, you can just go dive in the ocean, cool off.
Yeah, well, these players are not doing it in the ocean, but they're diving into the sand to save possession. For this Canadian possession here, Dos Santos is all over the field. She made a deep cut all the way to the end zone and then came back, and then she went deep again, and now she's back under, really churning in the sand for Canada.
Beautiful throw from Beaudry, connecting with Crystal Dos Santos this time. Beaudry has a rule. She has to find a Dos Santos to throw the score to, and whether it's Britt or Crystal, Team Canada will take it. An 8-2 lead now for the Canadians.
Yeah, I love how calm Beaudry is. She puts it out to space away from the defenders. There were, she could have gone up over the top, but I think really using that width of the field, Canada has gotten so much better at that since the first game we watched of them. And I think that that's just a testament to playing with each other a lot and playing on this beach. You understand that the width of the field in beach is maybe more important than the depth, because it changes the point of attack, and then the next throw after you use the width is so much easier. So it looks easy and simple what Canada is doing, but it's actually very sophisticated in terms of changing the point of attack, and it's really nullifying a lot of the defensive effort from Great Britain.
That's well said. I've been impressed watching this Canadian women's team. Another pull from Mason. That pull just missed. As that pull was flying through the sky, in my mind I was thinking, you know, I've seen some really good pulls here on the beach. Across all divisions, I feel like there's a renewed focus on it. And, you know, players have a chance to practice it and pin people into corners to start points.
Yeah, it certainly is a defensive advantage. Usually offense has an advantage, but if you can get that pull into place, really pin an offense down and make them work extra yards every single point, every game, you know, that's hundreds of yards by the end of the tournament, the end of a game, and that can really make the difference, especially when it's coming down to possession and 1 point and 2 points.
Laura Ladyman with a layout block for Canada. Veteran from Winnipeg. And a layout score for Alyssa Mason. And it's 9-2 Canada. I mean, technically this game does not matter from a seeding standpoint, but we're still seeing some thrilling highlight plays out there from this Canadian outfit.
Yeah, Laura Ladyman has been on several different iterations of Team Canada, and as a registered nurse, that was an absolutely clinical throw towards the end zone for Canada.
See what you did there. The D and the dime from Ladyman. And it was Mason making the final play of the point.
Dusting all the sand off. It can definitely build up if you've been laying out quite as many times as Alyssa Mason has.
So later today, in Women's Pool B, we'll see Canada and Spain. And that game, you know, unless one of those teams can beat USA, is going to be relatively meaningless in terms of they're going to play again in the semifinals tomorrow. What would your mindset be if you're Canada or Spain going into this Pool B game that's like a power pool before the bracket? I mean, it's a tricky task because you want to play well. It's fun to play and play well. But you also know that you played them 9-8 earlier in the tournament, and that game is going to decide whether you're playing for gold or silver or for bronze. Canada's clicking right now. The D-line working. Fowler with the score to make it 10-2. But, Katie, I'm curious to get your thought on that dynamic because this is later today. This is real. This is an hour and a half from now.
I think it's difficult to beat any team twice. And I think that part of this power pool situation is actually going to be a learning experience for both teams. It's important to play players, to get them feeling comfortable in the sand, to learn matchups, to learn tactics, but maybe to hold something back so that you feel like you have an edge going into the other one. And it's players like Chorus who have really been able to make an impact for Canada. I love her defensive presence, and then going the other direction, just the calm throwing. It's not easy to make throws look that easy. And that kind of flat to space throw where she's leading for Fowler for the goal and then just walking off, that little bit of swag is something that I think Canada can take into their next couple of matchups.
Huck down the sideline will connect. Michelle Kim Wardell trying to find somebody, and there is somebody. Ellen Johnson with a layout grab for GB.
Yeah, when Great Britain is clicking, it looks so pretty, but I think that they're sometimes leaning a little bit more into that grass set in the end zone where they're, you know, faking and looking for the around and just not able to really get it going as easily. But this one is absolutely bailed out. You can see looking for that space and then laying out for the score.
Canada with a 7-goal lead. Looking to finish 5-1 in their pool. This initial round robin with 7 teams competing in the women's division here at 2023 Beach Worlds. Britt Dos Santos lost it on her way down, but there was contact and no contest on the foul.
Uncontested.
Bailey sets the mark, and Britt Dos Santos wants that throw back. And I won't be surprised if she gets it back on defense.
I will also not, but I do love the body language sometimes when you know you want to throw back. Just that kind of arching over to the side, willing the disc to go a different direction than you threw it. I think every player will have had at least one of those, and another one right off the bat for Great Britain, a throw they would want back.
Heather Williams picking it up and giving it right back to Canada. But Canada delivers a third consecutive pass that doesn't have a target. Dos Santos just having fun out there.
Yeah, up and over the top of Bailey. This is more turnovers than we've seen from Canada. So we asked about growing in the tournament, and they're going to want to make sure that they're retaining possession and focus. And that throw to Beaudry was right on point.
Yep, beautiful toss from Cook. And it's 11-3. Each team turned it twice on the point, but the Canadian O-line still unbroken in the game. First goal for Beaudry to go along with a hat trick of assists.
Yeah, that seems like a hope and a prayer throw, hanging too long. Bailey not reading it quite correctly, and Dos Santos putting herself exactly in the place that she needed to get that out of the sky. And this you can see is a good read by Beaudry. She sights it and then turns and sprints to the spot where the disc is going to land and puts herself in a position to come back towards the disc. It's little subtle moves like that you can see players make, which makes them truly elite. It's not just running away from the disc or putting yourself close to where it's going to land. It's getting there early and putting your body in a position to get to the disc. So even if the defender had been closer, Beaudry would have been in an excellent position to get that disc.
Katie, the inconsequential subplot here is who's going to be the leading scorer in pool play in the women's division. And with that grab, Beaudry is now 2 scores clear of Britt Dos Santos. Score being a goal or an assist. They were tied coming into the game. Beaudry, 3 assists and the 1 goal. She's got 4 scores to BDS's 2. Wynn takes the shot up the line, and Mo connects. It's Collins. Maala tries to break the mark, throws it up, and that will work for Collins.
It's Baker to Collins again, and Baker is, I think, thrown almost all of the scores for Great Britain. Yeah, pivoting there, and that inside flick sitting up, and Collins, who's much taller than Ladyman, being able to take that down in the space, going to that break side. Good read there by Collins.
Third assist of the game for Claire Baker. Beautiful day on the Pacific. Action's really going to heat up this afternoon, Katie. Bracket play begins in the mixed division.
Absolutely. I was going to say, though, the story on Claire Baker is that actually she was stung by a stingray earlier in the tournament, but you wouldn't be able to tell by the impact she's been having for Great Britain. So those waves look beautiful, but if you get out a little bit too far, the ocean can get you.
Do you know how far out she was?
I don't know, but I do know that stingrays are near the bottom, so it's usually somewhere in that head height, neck height that you could step on it. So that's just a little PSA for everyone to
I wish
not
I didn't know this. Now I'm scared to go back in the water.
Yeah, well, they say to shuffle your feet or just don't put your feet down. It's a little bit further offshore, but I think she's managing that pretty well.
It is encouraging.
As we've seen. Yes.
To see that even if you do get stung, you can rally back and throw multiple assists against the Canadians. Canada 2 goals away from closing this out. Cook needs a reset. Brown swings it. Crystal Dos Santos to her sister, Britt. BDS has a choice of targets, and, well, that's a subplot indeed. Beaudry just had the score taken from her. So Britt Dos Santos is within one of Beaudry because of Brown. There's some conniving thievery. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, if they decided to have a competition about scoring, I think it should be one of the things where it's a cake bet. A cake bet, whoever loses gets to bake the winner a cake. So in the end, everyone just gets cake. Canada doing a good job of giving and going, finding that space, and then looking off, right? Both Beaudry and Brown were in that space. I think Brown was the intended target, really doing a good job of making what I would call a 7 cut, right? Cutting up line into that space and then checking back across like the shape of the number 7 into that inside space and finding the defender nowhere to be found because they've faked them out of their theoretical sand socks.
Speaking of cake, I didn't get to work with you yesterday. We worked together on Wednesday, so I didn't get to wish you a happy birthday on the air, but happy belated birthday. Yesterday was Katie Killebrew's birthday.
Yes,
and where else would you rather be than broadcasting Frisbee? Great block in the end zone from Ing, but a foul's called.
Yeah, well, you're right. There is nowhere else that I would rather be on my birthday than watching excellent international beach ultimate. So close to my hometown. Not my hometown, but where I live now, Los Angeles. Huntington Beach, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Yeah, seeing those two players talking it out. Yeah. It looks like a foul, no contest. And players are choosing to walk it to the front of the end zone. For possession, they're going to tap it live.
Collins with the assist, connecting with Bailey. And it's 12-5 with Canada's O-line retaking the field, looking to close it out. For a game that has been pretty lopsided in the score department, it's been a pretty clean game. I mean, that's 3 straight turnover-free holds, 4 of the last 5 points. Canada with only 5 turns for the entire game compared to their 12 goals.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that we've seen throughout the tournament is as teams get more on the same page, more chemistry with each other, they're not turning the disc over. And alternatively, defenses are getting better of stopping that downfield movement, so we're not seeing as many quick scores or big huck scores, and teams are really having to grind it out and create several passes in order to get all the way to the end zone. And I think it's a testament to how good these players are in really in all divisions is I think that sometimes the team that learns the most, that gets better throughout the tournament you're actually playing, is the team that wins.
All righty, winning time for Canada to get to 5-1 in pool play. Beaudry surveys her options, as she often does, chooses BDS. Back to Beaudry, plenty of space. Ball game. Canada 13, Great Britain 5. That was an impressive offensive performance from TC.
In looking at this play, you can see Beaudry giving and going, right, throwing and immediately going upline, and then the continuation is just into that space. So just putting it up and letting Cook go and get it. It's really good flow offense from Canada, using that momentum to one side in order to get that. And sometimes in sand, if you throw and move quickly, that anticipation of the movement can catch your defender looking, and defenders just can't catch up as much in the sand. So it's a really good, quick offensive movement from Canada that really put them in command of this game after the first point.
13 goals, 5 turns for Canada. 5 goals, 12 turns for GB. They had a few break chances, but could not convert any of them. And a high percentage break rate for Canada. Big part of that break rate was Alyssa Mason and really Jenny Corus. I think we're going to chat with Jenny here momentarily. So Canada finishes pool play 5-1. They've got another battle with Spain later today. And we'll see how the bracket shakes out in the women's division tomorrow. Delighted to be joined by Jenny Corus now for Team Canada. Jenny, congrats on another good win. How's it feel playing for your country on the beaches here in LA? 70 degrees, nothing but sunshine. Can't be better than this, right?
It really can't. It's truly an absolute honor and privilege to be here with our team representing our country, and from the East Coast representing the Maritimes. I feel really lucky to be here.
It's great to have you. You were pretty instrumental on that defensive possession for Canada, getting 4 assists, but I think starting on all defensive points. What is your messaging on that defensive line to try to score all those goals?
I think we've been talking a lot about putting the pressure on and really making teams look for that third, fourth, and fifth option and making it really hard for them. And then if we get that turn, just fast transition and try to score right away. So that's what we've been working on this tournament.
Jenny, I just pulled up the weather for Halifax, Nova Scotia on my phone. It says 42 degrees, feels like 40, rain for at least 60 minutes. You have a message for anybody back home?
I'm sorry. Keep shoveling those cars out, and I'll be back on the East Coast shortly, but after a quick vacation in sunny California.
Before we let you go, Jenny, an interesting game against Spain coming up this afternoon. Y'all played them really tough. You beat them 9-8 earlier in the tournament. What's the mindset going into this game, knowing that you could see them again tomorrow? You likely will, perhaps, in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, we did have one game against them, but it's a great opportunity to play a team that is still generally unfamiliar to us. So it's gonna all be about learning from them, keep improving, and trying to get better for when we see them in later on in the tournament.
Great stuff, Jenny. Thanks for joining us. Well done in pool play. We will see you later and tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Jenny Corus, 29 years old, from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And Halifax is a beautiful place, Katie. I've been there, but it is not like Huntington Beach right here, right now. And a strong performance from Team Canada. They came out with a purpose to take care of business, and they really did.
Absolutely. The talk at the beginning was all about Anushka Beaudry and Britt Dos Santos, but it was really the depth of Canada that kept them in this game. Their defensive pressure across the board. Great work from Great Britain as they are rebuilding as a women's team, but really this was all Canada.
Final score 13-5. It's lunchtime for the TV production crew. That's good news. And a little over an hour from now, bracket play begins in the mixed division. We'll see Team USA mixed in their quarterfinal. That's coming up about 70 minutes from now. Katie Killebrew and our entire crew, Evan Leffler, saying So long for now. 13-5. Canada takes it over GB.